Remove the wheel, use a 19mm socket, take the lug nuts off. Pull the wheel off. I'm going to use an 18mm socket, take this nut off. If the stud starts spinning, you have to grab it from the back side. If you can fit a wrench in there, use a wrench. Otherwise, you want to use some locking pliers. Take the nut off. And slide the link out. Take the two nuts off right here. Use a 18mm socket. And you want to hammer the bolts out. Just give them a tap. You might need to push on this a little. Try to get those bolts out the rest of the way. And disconnect the knuckle from the lower part of the strut. And set the knuckle aside. Make sure there's not too much tension on the brake hose. Using a 13mm socket, we want to take these nuts off up top. And once I get to the last one, I want to grab the strut from underneath, hold it so it doesn't fall, and take the last nut off. Now I'll grab the strut from underneath and just slide it down and out. I'm just going to mark where the strut is. This is where the mount is, so just take a crayon or a tire crayon. Just mark right there. You can mark it on the mount as well, just for reference. Now we have the spring in a compressor. You're going to need to compress the spring. Then we'll tighten it down. Compress it so that it's loose in there. That's good right there. I can lower the bumper. If you have a special socket just for struts, you can use that socket and then use another socket on top to keep the stud from spinning. Most people don't have that. So what you can use is some locking pliers on the top part of the strut, just like that. That's going to prevent the shaft from spinning, and it's so high it's never going to hit the area where the seal would hit. You don't want to go near the seal with any type of locking pliers. Using a 21mm socket, I'm going to take the nut off. Take that nut off. You can slide the mount up. Take the bearing off. Grab the strut assembly and then take those locking pliers off. And slide it down. Take the bumper off the strut. If it's got a wire tie, you want to cut that wire tie, you're going to have to use a new one. And slide it off. Now take the bumper and the boot and slide it over. And I'm just going to take a wire tie and just tighten it up top and trim the excess. I'll slide the strut in place. I'm going to take the bearing. It's going to go like that. And just line the bearing up. The mount, same way it was. Looks good. Take the new nut, get that started. Now I'm going to put the locking pliers at the top part of the shaft so that it doesn't go near the seal. And I'll just snug this nut up. All right, just snug that up. Now I'm going to torque that nut to 52 foot-pounds. Now we can take off the locking pliers and just move the bumper up a little bit. That's good. And then set the mount how it was lined up before when you took it off. Everything's lined up. It's lined up down below. And now we can release the tension on the compressor. I'm going to slide it out and we can reinstall it in the car. Now slide the strut back up underneath and the mount up. Make sure you have one of the nuts in your hand so you can get that started. Once you get one on, you can release the strut underneath. Now we just want to leave these nuts loose. You don't want to tighten them up yet. It'll be easier to install it from underneath. Now line up the knuckle with the strut. And take the bolts, get those started. Give them a tap. Put the nuts on. Now I'm going to torque these nuts to 89 foot-pounds. Now put the sway bar link in, get the nut started, and use the locking pliers. To hold the stud from spinning and tighten this down. Then I'm going to torque this to 59 foot-pounds. Now we're going to tighten these down. And I'll torque these to 15 foot-pounds. And put the wheel on, put the lug nuts on. Now I'm going to torque the lug nuts to 100 foot-pounds in a cross pattern to tighten the wheel down evenly. Now just go around again, double check. After you're done this repair, you want to make sure that you bring the vehicle to a local shop to have it aligned so you don't have premature tire wear.